If you come out and just say Watson's a starter,
Yep.
people going to say, oh, he was basically forced to say that Watson's a quarterback. If you start Shedeur and you come out and say Shedeur's our starter right away, people going to say, oh, they made him name a starter in Shedeur Sanders. And you cannot bring Dillon Gabriel into this because now we down the little clown and pony show that we went through last year. We don't know who the quarterback going to be. We got this guy. We draft two guys.
Shedeur spent most of last season fighting just to get a real opportunity in Cleveland. But 1 year later, the situation has completely flipped. Shedeur is now getting serious first-team work and competing for the starting job, while Dillon Gabriel suddenly looks like the quarterback who could be running out of room. Gabriel has not been cut, and Cleveland has not announced that it plans to release him, but the way this quarterback competition is developing should definitely make him nervous. Shedeur keeps moving up, while Gabriel appears to be getting squeezed in a quarterback room that simply has too many bodies.
He's got a Shedeur Sanders, who we know is very popular throughout our country, social media. He did some good things, but he didn't do enough good things to just go, oh, he should be the definite starter here, and we just roll out the carpet.
The crazy part is that nobody would have predicted this when Cleveland drafted these two quarterbacks. The Browns selected Gabriel with the 94th pick and then waited until pick 144 to take Shedeur. That was a 50-pick difference, and it immediately told everyone which quarterback Cleveland appeared to value more at the time. Gabriel also got the first real opportunity during their rookie season. When the Browns finally made a quarterback change, they turned to him instead of Shedeur. For a while, it looked like Gabriel had the much safer future in Cleveland, but that advantage has disappeared quickly.
When he spoke on Shedeur Sanders, he said it is refreshing to see a young football player that understands where he is and is willing to put in the work right now to get to where he want to be. Last time I checked, Dillon Gabriel rookie season, rookie campaign wasn't all that great either. There's a starting quarterback job that is supposedly up for grabs, and these three men, as of right now, will be competing for it.
To understand how much things have changed, go back to last October. Cleveland decided to make Dillon Gabriel its starter, while Shedeur remained behind him. ESPN was actually debating whether Gabriel becoming QB1 might be good for Sanders, because it allowed Shedeur to continue learning without being thrown into a difficult situation too early. Gabriel had the higher draft position, the first starting opportunity, and the chance to establish himself before Shedeur ever got meaningful NFL snaps. At that point, there wasn't much reason to believe Gabriel would be the quarterback worrying about his roster position less than a year later.
Adam Schefter reporting the Browns are making a quarterback change. They will start the rookie Dillon Gabriel this Sunday in London against Minnesota. I asked Peter Schrager a question moments ago. Who is going to be the backup, and you've gotten the answer.
Yeah, Schefter's got it as well. Flacco will be the backup, but Shedeur will be number 3. So your depth chart is Dillon Gabriel 1, Joe Flacco 2, fellow rookie Shedeur Sanders will be the number 3 man.
Then Gabriel suffered a concussion, and Shedeur finally got his opportunity. His rookie season wasn't perfect, and nobody should rewrite it like it was. Sanders threw interceptions and sometimes held the football too long while trying to create something downfield. There were obvious moments where he looked like a young quarterback learning NFL defenses in real time, but he also gave Cleveland something the offense desperately needed. He wasn't afraid to attack. He extended plays when protection collapsed, and he showed that his arm could create explosive opportunities when everything around him wasn't perfect. That became impossible to ignore when Sanders threw for 364 yards against San Francisco in only his second NFL start. It was the highest single-game passing total by a rookie quarterback that season, and suddenly Cleveland had to look at him differently. This wasn't only a fifth-round quarterback with a famous last name anymore. He had shown flashes of a ceiling that made the Browns curious about what could happen if they gave him more time. By the end of the year, Sanders had started 7 games, and the conversation around Cleveland's future had completely changed. Now Gabriel enters the new season in a much more complicated position because Cleveland currently has 4 quarterbacks competing for space. Deshaun Watson is back, Shedeur is competing for serious first-team work, Gabriel remains on the roster, and Cleveland also drafted Taylen Green in the 6th round. Carrying 4 quarterbacks into the regular season would be unusual, which means this competition isn't only about deciding who starts. Eventually, Cleveland also has to decide how many quarterbacks it actually wants to keep. That's where Shedeur's rise starts putting real pressure on Gabriel. If Watson is healthy and makes the roster while Cleveland views Sanders as the young quarterback it wants to continue developing, 2 spots become difficult to touch. Then the Browns have Gabriel and Green competing for whatever space remains. Green is a rookie Cleveland just drafted, while Gabriel is entering his 2nd season after already receiving 6 starts. That doesn't automatically mean Gabriel loses, but it makes every training camp rep much more important than it looked a few months ago. Fans have also started noticing some strange little details around Gabriel. When Cleveland released material from its media day, Sanders had new photos and Watson had new photos, while fans noticed Gabriel wasn't featured the same way. Gabriel's old number 8 was also reassigned. Neither of those things proves Cleveland is planning to release him, and it would be ridiculous to pretend they do, but small details become much more noticeable when a player is already fighting for position in a crowded quarterback room. The bigger evidence is what Cleveland has actually done on the field. During OTAs and minicamp, most of the first-team work reportedly went to Shedeur and Watson. That's far more important than a jersey number or a media day picture, because first-team repetitions tell you who the coaching staff wants to evaluate with the best players around them. Gabriel is still getting opportunities, but right now the most interesting quarterback battle in Cleveland appears to be Sanders against Watson rather than Sanders against Gabriel.
Dillon Gabriel got some of those reps in minicamp. Shedeur hasn't taken any reps, at least publicly, when media was there to see it with the ones yet. That doesn't mean he didn't take any, but we didn't see him take any. And so because of that, I think they sort of indicated to you this is how the depth chart's going to be set going into training camp.
There is another side to this, because Cleveland's coaches have not been trashing Gabriel behind the scenes. Quarterbacks coach Mike Bajakian has actually praised both young quarterbacks and talked about how prepared Sanders and Gabriel have been throughout the offseason. That's important context, because Gabriel getting fewer first-team reps doesn't mean the Browns suddenly think he can't play. Todd Monken has also explained that Cleveland isn't going to make every practice rotation perfectly equal. Different quarterbacks will get different opportunities because the coaching staff wants to evaluate them in different situations. Gabriel still has a legitimate chance to change the entire conversation during training camp and preseason. He already has NFL starting experience, and Cleveland knows what kind of worker he is. If Gabriel starts making better decisions and consistently moving the offense, the Browns aren't going to ignore that just because Shedeur generates more headlines. The problem for Gabriel is that Shedeur doesn't necessarily have to win QB1 immediately to make his roster situation uncomfortable.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a two-man race. I would just say that at every position, there's competition. Irrespective of the reps that they get, which I've said before, I mean, everybody ought to be competing. But what I have liked with Dillon is the way he goes about his business. Very professional, highly intelligent, understands football.
Imagine Watson wins the starting job. If Cleveland still believes Shedeur is the young quarterback worth developing behind him, then Sanders becomes difficult to remove from the roster. Cleveland would then have to decide whether it needs both Gabriel and Taylen Green behind those two. Now imagine Shedeur actually beats Watson and wins the starting job. Gabriel's situation might become even more complicated because Cleveland would already have a young starter, while Watson's contract situation keeps him involved, and Green gives them another developmental option. That's why Shedeur's improvement affects much more than his own starting chances. Every step Sanders takes changes the numbers for everybody else. Reports from Cleveland have been positive about his development under Monken. The biggest focus has been processing defenses faster and getting the football out instead of holding it while waiting for something bigger to develop. Those were obvious problems during his rookie season, and they're exactly the kind of issues that can determine whether a talented young quarterback becomes a legitimate NFL starter. The arm talent has never been the main question with Sanders. Cleveland already knows he can make difficult throws and create when the pocket breaks down. What the Browns need to see is whether he can operate the offense consistently. If he starts making quicker decisions while keeping the downfield aggression that made him interesting last season, Cleveland suddenly has a much more serious quarterback decision than anyone expected when they drafted him in the 5th round.
We're just rotating who was first reps. Shedeur to start, there were some other reps. The way it was going to turn out, Shedeur was going to get more reps, some of it in pass skelly, some of it in team. A couple of the team periods were slowed down ACT, more run than they were throw. So it was set up in a way for us to get a look at all of them. The plan was to have Shedeur have a few more reps.
Training camp is where all of this becomes real because Cleveland doesn't have to make the final decision today. Gabriel is still a Brown. Shedeur hasn't officially won QB1, and Watson hasn't won it either. The Browns can carry everyone through camp and use preseason games to see which quarterbacks actually move the offense when defenders are trying to hit them. Eventually, though, the numbers have to come down, and Gabriel has already learned how quickly a quarterback hierarchy can change in this league. Less than a year ago, Gabriel was the quarterback getting the first opportunity while Shedeur waited. Then Sanders got his chance and finished the season as Cleveland's starter. Now Shedeur is entering another camp with first-team opportunities, while Gabriel is the quarterback people keep asking questions about. That's an incredible reversal, and it shows why draft position stops protecting players very quickly once everyone gets onto an NFL field. The important thing is that Shedeur isn't personally getting Gabriel cut. He's not walking into the front office and demanding Cleveland choose between them. What he's doing is creating pressure by making himself harder to remove. Every first-team rep Sanders earns gives the Browns another chance to imagine him as their quarterback. Every improvement he shows makes the organization more willing to invest time in him. If that continues through training camp, Cleveland eventually has to figure out where Gabriel fits. Sometimes NFL players don't lose roster spots because they suddenly became terrible. They lose them because somebody else became too valuable to let go. That could become Gabriel's biggest problem here. Cleveland originally invested more draft capital in him, but Shedeur now has something that matters more than where either player was selected. He has momentum and a legitimate chance to compete for the starting job. Gabriel can still change that. A strong training camp and preseason could remind Cleveland exactly why it drafted him in the 3rd round. His coaches have praised him, and he already knows what starting an NFL game feels like. Nothing has been decided yet, but the pressure is completely different from last year. Gabriel isn't simply trying to beat Shedeur anymore. He might be trying to prove Cleveland has enough reason to keep both of them. That's what makes this Browns quarterback competition so interesting. Shedeur Sanders entered the NFL as the 5th-round quarterback everyone wondered would even get a fair opportunity. Dillon Gabriel entered as the higher pick who got the first shot. 1 year later, Sanders is fighting for QB1, while Gabriel could eventually find himself fighting for his place on the roster. So when training camp opens, don't only watch Shedeur versus Watson. Pay attention to Gabriel's reps and how Cleveland uses him in preseason. If Shedeur keeps climbing and Watson stays healthy, somebody in that crowded quarterback room is going to feel the squeeze. Right now, Gabriel has more reason than anyone to make sure that player isn't him.